however you guys pronounce it. Sorry, French speakers there. Anyway, let's get started. So my name is Max, or Maksim Izmaylov. I'm from Russia, but I love to travel. I really do. I visited a whole bunch of countries. My bucket list is mostly travel, really. So I do travel a lot. And I love to travel. I love seeing new places, new cultures, eating new things, meeting new people. I love that. But I hate traveling. I really do. I mean, when things go well, they go well. But whenever things are starting to go south, it's a problem. So I want to fix travel mostly for myself, really. Like, I just want to have cheap, comfortable ways of getting from point A to point B, enjoying my stays there. So that's my mission, I guess. For now, we'll see how it goes. And yeah, therefore I love building things to make travel better. I started a few companies that combine tech and travel, and since 2014, around 2015, as a software engineer, which I am, I was very frustrated with the state of technology in travel, and I was trying to figure out what it is, what's the problem, what's the underlying thing that makes travel so funky. I don't want to swear today because this is recorded, right? So let's get started. Let's talk about some of those problems that maybe you know about, maybe you don't. Hopefully, I'm going to blow your mind once or twice today. All right, so secret number one. We really, in the travel industry, like not in the travel industry, people who travel, people who go on all of those different booking websites, we have an illusion of choice. And the problem is that it's just an illusion, right? So we think that, oh, there's a whole bunch of different websites that I can go to. There's Booking, there's Trivago, there's, I don't know, hotels.com. And the secret here is that all of those different websites, the majority of them really, are owned by one of the two companies that you see on the screen. One is Expedia Group and another one is Booking Holdings. And you can see logos. Some of the companies that they own, it's definitely not all of them. They own literally hundreds of different brands, each one of those. And yeah, we have this feeling that those different companies and those different websites, they compete with each other, and therefore we're getting a good price, we're getting a good deal. But in reality, not really. And if you want to dig deeper a little bit into this, of course, you can look up all that information online. Yeah, you can read about how those companies, they go hand in hand. One changes, I don't know, the way they do business, another one follows suit, and they just kind of go hand in hand like that. There were different probes, and investigations, whether those companies are monopolies or they're breaking some antitrust, anti-monopoly laws. Yeah, none of those quite went anywhere. So yeah, that's one of the secrets. All right, going further. Right, so no booking on credit card fees. Really, this is kind of a small-ish screenshot, but this is a screenshot from Booking.com. If you book a hotel there, to the right, down under that button that says reserve, there's this little inscription that says no booking on credit card fees. I mean, really? We know in the travel industry, everyone knows that up to, really, I was looking it up yesterday, up to 36%, which is an insane number to me, of the total amount of money that you are sending to Booking.com goes to actually Booking.com, not to the hotel. That's an insane commission fee. At least I think so. That's a lot of money. And really, you're spending a couple minutes on the OTA website, and OTA, by the way, stands for Online Travel Agency. Basically, that's a website that combines what we call inventory from different hotels. And again, you have the ability to choose from all sorts of different hotels there. You spend just a few minutes there, but you pay, it's the consumer that pays 36%, not the hotel. And that's why Booking.com says, no, it's not you. Customer doesn't pay anything. It's zero, right? It's the hotel that will charge 36%. But again, I mean, we're not fools, right? At the end of the day, the consumer pays all of those different fees. Yeah, so that's secret number 2. They tell you that there are no fees, but there are crazy fees. All right, let's get going. They often say we price match those different OTAs or travel agencies. And it's a very interesting tool for them, right? So again, we have an illusion here that those guys, they care about us. They're saying, hey, if you find a better price anywhere, we'll match it. Well, again, it's hotel to hotel kind of comparison, of course. So if you see on one of those OTA websites, I don't know, let's say Hilton Hotel in London somewhere, and then you find somewhere price that's better, theoretically, that's what they're trying to say with this. You can, I don't know, take a screenshot or send them the URL or something like that, and they will match that low price. In reality, this is a tool for them to punish those poor hotels. And this is how it works. Those OTAs, those big intermediaries, they use what's called price parity agreements wherever they can and whenever they can, right? Because in most countries, really, it is illegal. In most countries in European Union, I think, in all countries. In Russia, definitely it's illegal. I think in North America, it's illegal. So really, countries in Latin America, maybe somewhere in Asia, they're suffering quite a bit from the price parity agreements, which are really detrimental to the business of those hotels and airlines and other players. What about those countries where it's illegal? You're saying, oh, I'm in Europe, so I'm protected. Not really. As you probably, well, you can figure it out, right? In those agreements that hotels have with those OTAs are saying, well, we can delist your hotel for whatever reason. We don't have to provide that reason to you. And in reality, maybe that price parity clause is not in that agreement, but the OTAs are saying, yeah, you put a lower price on your hotel website, so we're going to punish you. And again, they have a variety of different tools that they can use to do that. So even if you are going directly to the hotel website, probably their price matches the price on the booking website or Expedia website or whatever. And yeah, you end up paying more because of that crazy setup that they have, even though you're booking direct. And that's why a lot of times when you go direct, you don't see a lower price, but let's say on the website, but they provide you all sorts of perks on top of the stay. Let's say, I don't know, whatever it is, free breakfast, or maybe some vouchers, some other things, some miles. And of course, you don't get any of that if you go through an intermediary, through one of those OTA websites. So again, this price matching tool that, or idea that some of those OTAs are promoting is just a tool for them to find those hotels that are violating the written or spoken agreement to match the price that those hotels post on those OTA websites. Yeah, pretty crazy situation. This is a big one. Fake reviews, and we talk to many hotels, and this is one of the most pressing issues for them. They care about, of course. This is one of the best tools for, well, any company really, not just for a hotel, to promote their brand online. Well, where else are you promoting your stuff these days, right? And fake reviews is absolutely such a hurdle in the travel industry, and not just in travel, of course. Again, I was looking up statistics for this talk, and it's just absolutely insane. So some studies show that about a third of all TripAdvisor reviews are fake. So TripAdvisor, of course, being the website where all the travel-related ratings are compiled. So this was an investigation approach from this paper. It's called The Times of London. That was done in 2018. And they found that, I don't know their methodology, but sounds like a respectable outlet, The Times of London. Yeah, they found that about a third of all the reviews that's posted on TripAdvisor are fake. And they're created by accounts that are newly created, accounts that have just posted one review and then never done anything else. And then The Guardian, another UK paper, they did another investigation, and I think, as far as I remember, there was a collaboration with some other outlet or journalist, and that was done in 2019, and they found that about 15% of all the TripAdvisor's reviews are fake. And in that investigation, they found that 93% of hotels, this was specifically about hotels, that were found to violate TripAdvisor terms. Of course, they're saying no fake reviews, no nothing, no fraud. But 93% of those hotels that had fake 5-star reviews have done that before. So TripAdvisor, of course, is their business. The more comments, the more stuff they have on the website, the more high rating hotels they guess are there, the better it is for TripAdvisor. And TripAdvisor didn't do anything about it. So they found those hotels that were guilty in promoting their brands using this really fraudulent method, and they just allowed them to stay on the website and do that again. Yeah, very big problem for hotels out there, for all sorts of different brands, and I guess it's not just hotels that are on TripAdvisor, it's all sorts of different restaurants, perhaps tours and activities. And yeah, how do we deal with that? Well, we'll talk about it a little bit later. So maybe this is not a secret per se, but we've all heard about how you could try and, let's say, use VPN or open private browser window and go to an airline website and try and do and perform the same search that you've done in your, regular environment, and try to compare the prices. I do that sometimes. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But the fact is, hotels, airlines, all sorts of different companies, specifically in travel, because it doesn't happen anywhere else. At least I haven't seen that, or at least I'm not aware of that. Perhaps it's happening as well. But the idea is that, let's say, airlines that are selling tickets, what they're trying to do, because it's perishable inventory, right? So on the date of the flight, all those seats disappear, whether you filled them or you didn't, right? So hotel, same problem. So what they're trying to do, they're trying to fill all those seats and all those rooms at the highest price possible, right? So, and they're trying all sorts of different strategies in order to find basically a person who is going to pay more for the same seat. And just as an experiment, try to, if you're flying back to your home country or home city after this, try and talk to your fellow passenger and ask them whether they paid the same price as you did for the flight that you're taking. Yeah, I'm curious about the results. But airlines and hotels, they have all sorts of tracking capabilities, and they're hiring all these companies specifically to find people that, again, according to those companies or according to that data that they're collecting, will be able to pay more. And one of those very, very simple example is business travelers, right? They're highly sensitive regarding the dates that they're traveling, right? If you're a leisure traveler, maybe you can fly on, I don't know, Friday or Saturday or Sunday, it doesn't matter to you really, but if you're a business traveler and you're going somewhere for a business meeting, of course you have to be there on time. So those people generally are able to pay more for the same ticket. So yeah, very simple example of that. But in reality, those tracking capabilities are much, much more complex, right? So of course they're tracking your location. If you're looking up a ticket or a hotel stay from a country in Europe or from one of the developed countries, it's going to be probably more expensive than if you were to open the same website from a location somewhere, I don't know, in Africa, in Asia, and one of the developing countries. And as I said, it's much more complex than this. Those are just very simple examples. And by booking direct here, what I'm trying to say is, when you are not booking direct, when you go to one of those OTA websites, the aggregators as we'll call them, there's a whole chain of companies in the middle that are profiling you. Really, it could be up to 20 companies probably. There's, I'm not going to go into details of this, probably it's not very interesting, but you would be surprised how many companies are in the middle really when you book on one of those aggregator websites. So if you have the patience and the time, call a hotel directly or book on their website directly. But even if you go directly and try to book on the hotel website, most of the time you will find that when you click book on the hotel website, it takes you to a completely different website with a different URL, with the name of the provider in the URL that provides the booking capability to that website, and it's a mess, really. Try and call them direct, and from what I know and from my experience, if you're nice to the receptionist, they can give you a better price then. So try that next time. Just call them, say, hey, can I have a discount? They should be able to provide that to you, and all sorts of different other perks. Another benefit of booking directly is, of course, yes, they are able to provide all sorts of different perks if you're not going through an OTA. Well, sometimes they're silly as well, and many times I call the hotel and I'm like, hey, if I see it's $200 on Booking.com, how about $150? No. Well, whatever, you're lost. All right, moving on. This was a crazy revelation to me, really. And I was baffled by this back in 2014, 2015, that really hotels and airlines don't have APIs, but it's the case today, still. And every year it gets more and more baffling. So let me tell you a little bit about this. Of course, hotels and airlines are not software companies. So they have to either hire someone to have an API capability, or I don't know, procure software that has the capability. But the problem is, the moment you buy into software like that, let's say you're a hotel, you buy software from, let's say, Oracle, which is a major provider of hotel software in the world. It's kind of a tricky situation where, well, we call it vendor lock-in, right? So you cannot very easily switch to another provider if you wanted to. So guess what? You need all sorts of features in your software that needs to be turned on, and you call Oracle and say, hey, I need this, I need that. And every time you request something from them, it's a few $1,000s, right, of expense that you have to incur in order to have those features. So as a hotel, if you want to have an API, well, it's going to be what, about $10,000. Airlines generally are bigger companies, and I really don't know why they cannot take on the responsibility to develop those APIs themselves. They already have good enough standards in the airline industry. One of those standards that one of our advisors used to work on for a long time at IATA, the International Air Transportation Association. It's called NDC, New Distribution Capability, and it's a decent standard, right? They've been developing it for a long time and finally released it several years ago, and everyone, it was really amazing. It's an amazing development, all in all. Well, guess what airlines did? They went to all the same intermediaries that were giving them a hard time for decades, literally now. And they said, hey, now we have this new standard. Can you build that API for us because we don't want to? And it's kind of a situation right now where we have a standard, and airlines could have developed those APIs themselves, but they didn't. And really, whenever you're connecting, most of the time you're thinking you're connecting to an airline API. It's not the airline that owns that API. And you call them and you say, hey, can I connect to your API? And they say, oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, just call that guy. He knows how to do that. They're dealing with all that. Just do that. And of course, XML, it's year 2021, as far as I remember. XML is still all the rage in the travel industry. That's like the best possible thing that you can probably have. Of course, there are new companies and some of the smaller startups that are trying to depart from that. And just XML is a symptom, right? Of course, it's a useful technology, but yeah, it's an interesting indicator, interesting litmus test. So this was a fun one. I was talking to this guy from a company that handles your luggage in like 50% of airports everywhere in the world. So probably, yeah, you use that company, you don't even know about it, but yeah, they touch your stuff all the time. And he told me about some of the problems that they have, and I was even more perplexed than before to learn that airlines still use technology that was developed back in the 80s. In 1880s. That technology is called teleprinter. Really, the first use of that technology was in 1887, as far as I remember. And of course, it went through a few iterations, but today it's called Airline Teletype. But the principle is the same. It's the teleprinter kind of thing. So you press a button on your keyboard somewhere, I don't know, in Zurich, and the same letter or number is being printed somewhere else. And this is actually a major cost contributor to your air travel. So they exchange information about luggage, about all sorts of different things using that technology. Technology from 1880s. So you wonder sometimes, you call an airline, you try to make a change, change is very small. Last time, not even 2 weeks ago, I don't know, I misspelled my name, something went wrong, but all I needed to do is change my name on the reservation. About $10 cost, just changing the string in the database somewhere. So yeah, airlines still use tech that's quite outdated. They use teleprinter things, they use mainframes. COBOL engineers are quite in demand, if you know COBOL, of course, in that industry. So just a job opportunity for you guys, geeks. So moving on, an airline industry, of course, is tremendously complex, and that's something we don't really know, we don't maybe even need to know, but airlines, they outsource a lot of their stuff. So the API capabilities that they outsource to another company, that's nothing. They outsource pretty much everything. And to me, again, I see it as kind of a problem. So years ago, I started calling it Uberization, where, well, basically the problem is companies that make most money, they don't own any of the assets, right? So take Uber. Yeah, the guy owns a car, he drives it for Uber, Uber makes tons of money. The guy's barely surviving. Airbnb, same situation, right? And so with airlines, they don't have just one company that sits in the middle of all of those different transactions, different types of transactions even. There's a whole bunch. So airline industry is very complex in that regard. They use one company for calculating the correct airfares for them, basically determining the price of all sorts of different tickets. Another company to publish those fares so that travel agencies can get access to those numbers and to that data, to those different packages. They use another company to get paid from those travel agencies. They use another company to calculate the route. It's just insane. Well, another secret. Yeah, I encourage you, if you're interested in this, it's fascinating how that stuff works, especially the airline fares. It's a fascinating topic, very complex. So we're looking at all those things at Winding Tree for several years now, and we were thinking, how can we take all of those different things? What can we do with them? Some of those problems, they seem to be, again, very complicated. And some of our advisors say, some of the people from the travel industry say, what can you do about it? We need a fresh start. So that's kind of what we're doing at Winding Tree. I'm going to give you a very brief overview with about what we've done here and really what we're building. So we created a lot of those problems, the problem of coordination on a marketplace, right? So how do we go directly from buyer to seller without an intermediary, right? So, and during our work, in the course of our work on this problem, we realized that, well, really, without blockchain, we didn't have any tools to allow buyers and sellers on a marketplace, on any decently sized marketplace, to talk directly to each other. We had to have an intermediary that, of course, is going to put a crazy commission fee because they become a monopoly, inevitably, almost. And that's the situation that we have right now, where we have a lot of those different, not a lot, only a few of those different intermediaries that create this illusion of choice. So we created this technology that's called OrgID. OrgID is, of course, stands for organizational identity. And the idea is that without an intermediary, OrgID is a set of smart contracts, some tooling around it, where companies create their profile and they can have a sort of trust score, right? So the only thing as a buyer and seller trying to connect to each other, the only thing that they need to do, the only thing that they need to know about each other is, hey, can I trust you? Will you pay me at the end of the day? And from the buyer, hey, will you provide the goods that I'm buying from you, for my customer in our particular case, right? So how can we go from illusion of choice to choice, really? Because today you have no choice. You have to, if you're a hotel or if you're a travel agency, you have to work with one of those intermediaries. So that's something that we want to give to the travel industry, again, both buyers and sellers, both hotels and travel agencies. And again, the silly thing, booking and credit card fees, they're saying they don't exist. Of course they're there, you just don't see them. They're blatantly lying to you. Okay, how can we decrease those fees? Again, going direct. If you don't have an intermediary, you can do that very easily. You don't want to pay. You shouldn't pay for just a few minutes that you spend on a website, hundreds and hundreds of dollars every time you travel. The market, the problem is that with these intermediaries, we really don't have a free market, because even the pricing, you cannot price your own products. And again, how insane it is that as a merchant, you cannot even do that. You cannot make almost any decisions here. You have to work with this one guy. You have to give him the price that he tells you to post, and that's it. So very, very bad situation. Yeah, the market. We should have a free market, at least in this industry, and preferably everywhere else, of course. So we have this concept of OrgID, organizational identity, and the topic of self-sovereign identity is blowing up right now. Our solution is specifically for organizations, but if you couple it with a personal identity, individual identity, you can solve the problem with fake reviews, where, yes, the organization provides a cryptographically signed message that, yes, this particular person, that particular identity, stayed at my hotels, and therefore they're entitled to live review, right? Very easy to solve. And of course, you shouldn't worry about whether you're being tracked, whether you're being measured, whether you are, whether every your step is being taken into account in order for your price to be increased at the end of the day. And that's really, again, what these companies are doing. And I'm a maximalist, but I think that anyone and everyone who wishes to do so should be able to remain anonymous on the internet. So we should be able to do that and only reveal the information that we want to reveal whenever it's beneficial for us. So let's say I have, I don't know, some sort of mileage program or some loyalty program with a hotel. Yeah, of course I will reveal that information. But if it makes me, if it gives me a better price, but if I try and sign up for a VPN and connect to the same hotel website from somewhere in Asia, and I see that that price is 20% better than the discount that I get with my loyalty program, well, that's not a very good business practice, is it? Again, we just don't know about it. Moving on. So yeah, OrgID is one of our core, it's a technology, it's not a product, really. You can't just go and use OrgID. We have a few different products on top of this. This is kind of fundamental layer that we built here. Of course, it's all open source. Of course, it's all decentralized. But on top of that, what can you do? So we have, as I said, a few different products here. So I mentioned that, let's say, hotels, they don't have API capabilities at all. I'm talking about travel agencies here. We're trying to show and teach travel agencies how to work in a new environment where you are not dependent on an intermediary. So we build this tool that's called Glider. It's completely open source. You can go onto our GitHub profile and you can see that this is it's essentially a booking UI that uses some of the formats, some of the standards we created. It uses OrgID, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, actually, it's a fully functioning website. It is a travel agency. We don't want to create a travel agency. We just want to show how this could be done, and of course, has to function. So check it out. So on another side of the marketplace, on the other side of the marketplace, I mentioned that hotels, they don't have APIs. So we're providing for small hotels, absolutely for free, we're providing this tool that's called Rooms, which has API capability that's connected directly into this whole ecosystem with OrgID and Winding Tree and stuff like that. So yeah, very simple. Well, we call it IMS, Inventory Management System. Yeah, very simple tool. So I'm getting towards the end of my presentation and my allocated time. I don't know how it works actually, if we have any questions from the audience here and whether I can receive them at all. But happy to answer all of those questions if you have them. And my email, I had it on the first slide, it's max@windingtree.com. And I just wanted to mention that we're hiring quite a few people. So feel free to send an email to this one, work@windingtree.com, or go on our website, check it out. Send me a question. I am max@windingtree.com, and thank you so much. Sure. I hear you. What is the question? Right. So we have there are a few open source business models here. We raised our money during the ICO boom, actually at exactly the worst time. So we still have some of that money left. So for the next 2 years, I think we're good. But in terms of earning money, we have to build other things on top of the infrastructure that we created, things that cannot be decentralized today, right? Of course, really good question, because with decentralized technology, if everything is open source, if everything is decentralized, you cannot charge the user for the access to this, right? But things that you cannot quite decentralize, right? Let's say payment capabilities or support. That's what, I don't know, let's say Red Hat Linux is doing, right? Yeah, you can take Linux, use it for free, but hey, you're a corporation, you want support, you want some SLA, yeah, call us. We'll give you a quote, right? So open source business models and building useful tools on top of the decentralized infrastructure that we created, tools that cannot be decentralized. Good question. Yeah, yeah, we do. You have quite a few companies that are interested in resolving and solving the problem, but and that's not a secret. That companies, especially those that are struggling with technology already, they have a really hard time grasping the blockchain stuff, right? So again, I'm gonna give you an example. So we're talking to this guy who's saying, hey, I can lobby your solution in this one European country, so you will get all the hotels in this country, which is pretty big. But anyway, and we're saying, wow, this is amazing. He's saying, okay, what should a hotel owner do in order to put their inventory on Winding Tree or in order to use the platform? We're saying, okay, so first of all, install MetaMask, generate your seed phrase, then acquire some Ether, which is quite an ordeal for a new person who's doing that. Then you go on our website, you create an account, you fill out the form, you connect to your API. Oh, you don't have an API, you use rooms. So this whole process is quite complicated, and it's going to be a couple of years before, several years probably, I don't know, 2, 3, 5, before smaller hotels and medium-sized hotels will start catching up to that. But right now we're working, and pandemic was kind of a blessing to us because a lot of companies that didn't have time to innovate, I guess, in the regular course of business, but a few really gigantic companies that we've been working for about a year and a half right now, we're working with them, and they are interested in innovation. They have the capacity to do that. So yeah, we're connecting a few big companies right now as we speak together through this open platform and showing them how things can be done differently. And those companies will literally be saving hundreds of millions of dollars every year on travel, specifically corporate travel in this particular case. So yeah, quite a few companies. Thank you. Thank you. You too. Have fun. Bye-bye.